Donald Trump just threw a major curveball at the anti-gun establishment, shaking things up with a bold proposal. He wants concealed carry permits to be honored in every corner of the United States. That's right, nationwide reciprocity for concealed carriers. If you're legally permitted to carry a handgun in your home state, Trump believes that permit should follow you wherever you go, from coast to coast. For millions of responsible American gun owners, this isn't just campaign noise, it's a hard stance against the patchwork of state laws that turn everyday patriots into accidental criminals for simply crossing a state line. In this video, we're diving into what Trump's plan really means, how it could change the landscape for those of us who take the Second Amendment seriously, and why this just might be the most important move for gun rights we've seen in decades. We'll unpack the opposition's usual talking points and explain why this proposal could tip the scales in the fight for nationwide carry rights. Let's be honest, this country loves to talk about freedom. But when it comes to carrying a firearm legally across state lines, the system is completely broken. Right now, someone who's trained, background checked, and licensed to carry in their own state can find themselves in handcuffs for doing nothing more than crossing into a different jurisdiction. That's how bad things have gotten. Just picture if your driver's license stopped working the second you drove into a new state. Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what concealed carriers are dealing with. Each state has its own carry laws. Some play nice and honor other state permits. Some refuse entirely. And others change their rules so often that staying informed feels like a full-time job. Unless you've got a law degree, it's almost impossible to stay in compliance. And if you mess up, the consequences can be life-altering. Look at what happened to Shaneen Allen out of Pennsylvania. She was a single mom, fully licensed to carry in her home state. But in the year 2013, she made the mistake of driving into New Jersey with her legally owned handgun. During a basic traffic stop, she was arrested. She had no clue her Pennsylvania permit wasn't recognized just a few miles across the border. For that honest mistake, she was staring down a potential 10-year prison sentence. She eventually received a pardon, but the damage was already done. Her life was flipped upside down for something that should have never been treated as a crime. And then there's the case of Marine Corps veteran Sergeant Andrew Tahmoresi. In 2014, he accidentally drove over the border into Mexico with a couple of legally owned firearms in the back of his truck guns that were completely legal in Arizona. Despite serving our country with honor, he was thrown into a Mexican prison and kept there for 7 long months before finally being released. Stories like these aren't rare. They're symptoms of a system that punishes Americans for trying to exercise their constitutional rights outside the comfort zone of their home state. The Second Amendment is crystal clear. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. But if that right vanishes as soon as you cross into a place like California or New York, where gun laws are stacked so high, they practically erase the Constitution, what does that really say about our freedom? In too many states, the Second Amendment has been turned into a hollow phrase, something that's ignored, regulated into oblivion, or treated like an optional suggestion. Until this mess is fixed, good men and women who follow the law will keep getting caught in legal traps. That's why Trump's push for nationwide concealed carry recognition matters. It puts pressure on every state to acknowledge that our right to defend ourselves doesn't come with a state-by-state asterisk. Your permit should mean something everywhere. It's time we stop letting invisible lines on a map decide who gets to carry and who gets arrested. Now let's get into the meat of what national concealed carry reciprocity really means. To put it plainly, this is the belief that if you're legally licensed to carry a concealed firearm in your home state, then that permit should be honored in all 50 states, just like how your driver's license works. And this idea isn't some recent invention either. Folks in Congress have been pushing this concept for years under legislation known as the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act. Back in the year 2017, the House of Representatives actually passed House Resolution 38, a bill designed to update Title 18 of the United States Code. If it had become law, it would have required every state to recognize valid concealed carry permits from any other state. The bill sailed through the House, but stalled out in the Senate before it ever made it to the president's desk. Still, the idea has only picked up steam among law-abiding gun owners since then. The reasoning behind this push is pretty straightforward. It would cut through the legal mess and provide a real safety net for responsible citizens who carry. Right now, The patchwork of different laws from state to state is more than just inconvenient, it's dangerous. There are good, honest people out there who did everything right, took their training, passed background checks, got properly licensed, yet still ended up facing jail time just because they crossed into the wrong state with their legally concealed handgun. National reciprocity wouldn't override each state's ability to issue permits under their own terms, but it would reinforce the idea that our constitutional rights should not depend on zip code. Bottom line, this isn't some radical policy, it's just common sense. When we're talking about something as fundamental as the right to protect yourself and your family, that shouldn't vanish the moment you drive into a neighboring state. What nationwide reciprocity would do is offer consistency, eliminate confusion, and most importantly, reaffirm the Second Amendment as the unshakable right it was always meant to be. President-elect Donald Trump has made his intentions crystal clear. He's fully committed to pushing concealed carry reciprocity across the finish line. His plan would bring all 50 states into alignment, so that if you're legally permitted to carry in your home state, that right would follow you wherever your travels take you within the United States. In a recent address, Trump said it plainly, "I will protect the right of self-defense wherever it's under attack, and I will sign national concealed carry reciprocity into law." Your Second Amendment doesn't end at the state border. That one sentence nails the issue. It's about defending your rights wherever you stand on American soil. Trump also emphasized the absurdity of the current system by comparing it to other legally recognized documents, just like your driver's license or your marriage license. Your right to keep and bear arms must be respected across state lines. And honestly, he's right. We don't make folks reapply to be married every time they cross a border. So why should gun owners be treated differently for exercising a constitutional right? This isn't just campaign rhetoric. It's a clear-cut answer to the growing anti-gun movement that wants to see your rights chipped away one regulation at a time. At its core, this is about restoring one of the most basic human freedoms, the ability to defend yourself and your loved ones, no matter where in the nation you happen to be. Right now, the inconsistent carry laws from state to state have led to too many good Americans being treated like criminals over paperwork. That's not just frustrating, it's downright dangerous. What Trump is proposing is a unified legal framework that respects state authority while upholding the Constitution. And supporters of this effort argue it could do more than just strengthen the right to carry it. It might actually help reduce crime. When more responsible Americans are legally armed, it sends a powerful message to those who prey on the innocent. Your next victim might just shoot back. It's about giving the good guys a fair shot, no matter what state they're standing in. This fight is about more than just clearing up legal confusion. It's about taking back ground that's been steadily eroded from the Second Amendment over the past several decades. If national concealed carry reciprocity becomes law, everyday Americans who've jumped through every hoop, background checks, safety courses, licensing will finally be able to carry across state lines without fear of accidentally becoming criminals. Whether you're packing up the family for a cross-country vacation, relocating for a new job, or heading out for a quick weekend trip, your right to carry your firearm should come with you, no exceptions. Folks backing this movement also point to a glaring double standard. The truth is, criminals cross state borders all the time with illegal guns in tow. They're not stopping to check reciprocity agreements or reading state statutes. They're running firearms up what's known in law enforcement circles as the Iron Pipeline, especially along Interstate 95. Guns flow out of states with fewer restrictions and into places like New York or New Jersey, where the laws are stacked against lawful gun owners. The people ignoring the law are the ones doing the damage, yet somehow, it's the law-abiding permit holders who end up in handcuffs for carrying legally across the wrong line on the map. Let's not ignore the facts. Concealed carry permit holders are among the most law-abiding individuals in the entire country. These folks pass federal background checks, complete training courses, and get licensed through their state. Statistically, they break the law less often than the general public. Giving them the ability to carry legally across the nation doesn't put firearms in the wrong hands. It provides peace of mind to the ones doing everything right. It's time the law stopped punishing the responsible ones. Even with momentum building, there's no question the opposition is gearing up. The usual critics are already throwing out tired arguments, claiming that more legal guns automatically mean more crime. But that narrative falls apart fast once you dig into the real data. Research from the Crime Prevention Research Center shows exactly the opposite. Concealed carriers consistently rank as one of the most law-abiding groups in the United States. In fact, in states like Texas and Florida, people with carry permits have been convicted of crimes at rates even lower than police officers. That's not a theory, that's what the numbers say. And we've seen these responsible carriers step up in real-life situations. Think about the Clackamas Town Center shooting in Oregon back in the year 2012, or the horrific mass shooting at a church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, in 2017. In both cases, armed citizens confronted the shooters, potentially preventing even greater tragedy. These are not hypothetical scenarios. They're hard proof that good guys with guns are often the last line of defense when evil shows up. One of the louder arguments from the anti-gun crowd is that national reciprocity would somehow violate state rights. But let's be honest, the Constitution already requires states to honor documents like marriage licenses and driver's licenses under the full faith and credit clause. Extending that same principle to concealed carry permits isn't government overreach. It's using an existing constitutional standard to defend another constitutional right. States would still get to decide how they issue permits, but once issued, those permits would be respected from coast to coast. That's not tyranny, it's just logic. Then there's the hypocrisy that's impossible to ignore. The same politicians and Hollywood elites who call for stricter gun laws are surrounded by armed private security 24/7. It sends a toxic message that only the wealthy and connected deserve protection, while working-class Americans are expected to fend for themselves without the legal right to carry. National reciprocity flips that narrative. It makes clear that every law-abiding citizen, regardless of income, skin color, or zip code, has the absolute right to self-defense. Right now, we've got real energy behind this movement. That means it's time to get loud and get active. Pick up the phone and call your senators. Reach out to your representatives. Join strong, pro-freedom organizations like the United States Concealed Carry Association. Show up at your town hall meetings. Sign the petitions. Share the message far and wide online. This isn't just politics. This is a daily issue affecting millions of honest Americans. Let's not kid ourselves. The anti-gun side isn't backing down. They're always working behind the scenes to pass laws that limit what we can carry, where we can carry it, and how we can defend our lives and families. That's why it's critical to stay informed, vote smart, and remind the people in Washington that they answer to us, not the other way around. The Second Amendment isn't just some dusty old sentence in a history book. It's the bedrock of American liberty. With strong leadership and a united voice from patriots across the nation, we can turn national reciprocity into law. And when that happens, it'll send a thunderous message across the country. Our rights are not up for debate, and we're done playing defense.